You think he's proud of you?
I'm certain he's proud of me. And it's amazing how much strength I can get from that. It's amazing how much strength you can get from knowing that your ancestors looking down on you and you're doing your absolute best. I also believe that God can be proud of you when you do your absolute best. And I don't think many people genuinely do their best in the world anymore. When I say do your best, people sit and go, oh yeah, okay. No, when's the last time you actually did your best? Like, I don't train to run marathons, but I know if I gave my best, I could run a marathon right now, first try. If I gave my best, life depending on it. When's the last time people have genuinely given their best to anything? There are people going through the world and going through life today that don't give their best or 100% effort to anything ever. Ever. They can't even remember the last time they tried. So when I'm sitting in a dungeon, I'm sitting in a Romanian jail cell, I understand that it is a chance that God has given me and my ancestors are watching for me to do my absolute best and to show to them that I am the man I say I am. You can't become the most famous man in the world for mental resilience and God not test your mental resilience. I think that would be a very amateur way to view the world, that you can now become one of the most famous men in the world who talks about mental discipline and mental resilience and God's not going to test it. I think God's going to come along and say, okay, you want to be Mr. Famous. All right, let's see what you have. You're not going to be able to compete with the person who performs regardless of how they feel if you only compete when you feel like competing, right? Because there's men like me out there who will be sad every day and outcompete you regardless. I don't care how I feel, I will still win. And that's the kind of mindset you need to adopt. So I don't, when a man comes—
You've got a job to do. Stop whining, go to work.
Completely.
Yeah, I agree.
Completely.
Yes.
So when men say, oh, but I feel sad, who cares? The world doesn't care. All the men who are out here to destroy you and take your girl don't care. So why do you care? Like, the person who should care least is you. You're the only person who wakes up every day who should have a genuine vested interest in improving your life. Nobody else wakes up and wants to improve your life, only you. So if nobody else cares about how you feel, why do you care?
You asked me about the fact that, am I afraid they're going to put a bullet in my head? They're going to put a bullet on. Do you understand? At least I get to die first. At least they remember my name. If we all have to jump off the cliff, at least I get to go first. Wait, lads. Well, Andrew Tate went first, because we're all going to die. The only way to stay alive as a man now is to not be a man anymore. To be a chick. I'd be afraid, because men are cowards. Oh, don't kill me. No, okay. I refuse. I refuse, absolutely. Just shoot me. Or put me back in jail. It's fine. I refuse. Until the day I'm gonna drive my Ferrari around, I'm gonna say whatever I want. That's what's gonna happen. I don't care anymore. Put me in jail. Put me back in jail. I don't care. I worked out something that's actually very fantastic for everyone at home who's worried about going to jail. To all the men at home, because they're going to come for all of us if you have any kind of opinion or you tell your girlfriend not to sleep with other men, somehow that makes you controlling. If you go to jail, you can still smoke, which means there's nothing the government can really do to you that prevents you from getting cigarettes. So life's fine.
My argument also for depression is, you're depressed, fine. Have you trained today? Well, that doesn't change what you should do with your life, depressed or not. And I don't say this because I'm an eternally happy person. I say this because I've experienced all ranges of human emotion. I was in a Romanian jail cell with cockroaches crawling all over me as I slept. I never missed a day of training. I wouldn't say I was particularly happy, but push-ups must be done. So they got done.
You're very close to your brother.
Correct.
And you were locked away for part of that with him. Did you have fun at all with him?
Yes. I do think there's something inside of men, whereas if you're with your boys or you're with your group of men, there's something inside of us.
Totally.
And it allows you to make the absolute best of the worst situations. Maybe that's an evolution from war. You know, all the men went to war and you saw all this pain and suffering and you saw heads, people decapitated and you're injured, but then you sit around the campfire and you're laughing.
You're laughing. That's right.
It's something inside of us. It's like a coping mechanism when you're around men. So when me and him were together, no matter how bad the scenario or no matter what they tried to do to us, part of us would just look at each other like, cigarette? And you find joy in that. And yeah, there's definitely, and that's another thing I think a lot of men are lacking. A lot of men are missing is a masculine support network. I think Buddies. Yeah. You know, you talk to a guy and say, what was the highlight of your life? What was the best time of your life? And they say, college football. It's not about the football. It's about the team. You know? And I think a lot of that's destroyed as well. Because also it's interesting how everything interconnects. When you destroy honor and principle and the masculine essence inside of men, well, now as a man, it's very hard to have friends. I wouldn't want to have a male friend who had no principles, no honors, and didn't work hard and was always crying about being sad. What do I want to hang around with him for? He's a loser. I don't think many men especially understand that even if you don't have the strength to be a hero for yourself, you should have enough discipline and enough honor to want to be a hero for somebody else. And if you have other people you truly respect, you should want to be a hero for them. And I think that's the masculine imperative. If someone's going to attack your wife, that's when you become a hero for her. You have to. What kind of man are you if you're not? And you can apply that to other things. If you apply that to your ancestors, or you apply that to God, or you apply that to your beliefs or your core principles as a man, then you can be a hero anytime you want.
If I had left jail mentally broken and financially broken, it wouldn't have made me more famous. So, and physically broken, because all those three things could have happened. Please understand, I was in 24-hour-a-day lockdown. My cell was half the size of this room, and I didn't leave. I didn't get a gym. I didn't come out looking all scrawny. I didn't get good nutrition. I didn't get good food. Most people in there had mental health problems. If I would have come out there all skinny and mentally broken, then it would have been game over. So there's also a degree of my competence in all things. But the people who laugh at me going to jail don't understand that there's no light without dark, and I'm an expert, I guess, if you were to say one of my skills is, I'm an expert at being hard on myself, and if life's gonna be hard on me, I'm gonna Aikido that into power. I would believe I'm a stronger version of myself post-jail. And if you put me back, I'll emerge stronger than ever before. Send me to jail. Fine. Send me to jail right now. I'll go. I'm not gonna fight. Put me in handcuffs. Send me to jail. The day you let me out, I'll be a stronger version of the day I went in. So what do I have to fear? Because if you truly want an exceptional life, this is one of the mistakes a lot of people. They want an exceptional life, but they only want the exceptional good because they're cowards. Like, I want a lot of money and fast cars. Cool. You don't want the exceptional stress. You want the exceptional car collection. You don't want the exceptional stress. You want to be me when I'm flying my Bugatti on an A380 and I'm in first class Emirates and my Bugatti's below me and I'm filming it for Take Confidential. You want that, but you don't want to be me when I'm in a Romanian dungeon. But there is no like that. If you want the exceptional good, you're going to have the exceptional bad. That is a law of the universe that can't be broken. That is not human law. That's universal law. So if you're sitting at home saying, I want an exceptional life, then you have to be prepared for both the good and the bad.
Everything is hyper competitive, especially the sexual marketplace. Like if you're a 52-year-old, overweight, average income, no fame dude, and you have to find a girl, it's gonna be pretty difficult to find a good one. It's gonna be very hard. So we're like, of course he's lonely. And his kids don't respect him, they're busy. Like, of course he's sad. Like it's actually heartbreaking to discuss.
It is heartbreaking.
It's heartbreaking. But then how do you prevent that happening? Well, then you need to be a man of honor and principle and make sure that you keep your support networks and make sure that your woman does respect you. And a woman's gonna respect you when she sees other men respect you.
Yes.
And they're only gonna respect you if you respect yourself. But to respect yourself, you have to be the kind of person who says no.
If you're not prepared for the bad, what's gonna happen on your ascent to good? As you begin to get anywhere, something will happen, some degree of stress or whatever, and it's gonna derail you, and you're never gonna get to the highest echelon. So I've always been ready for the bad. I'm totally prepared for the bad. I was made in the dark, molded by it. I'm Bane. Put me in the bad. My whole life's been bad. My whole life's been terrible. I've known nothing but pain.
If you feel depressed or sad, I think that's a fantastic trigger or a warning signal to do something. If you were to say to me, Andrew, you have to complete this monumental task. You have to conquer the world. I would say, okay, but I need a emotional motivation to do that. I need to be unhappy having not completed the task. You know, I need to be uncomfortable, right? If you're uncomfortable being out of shape, you'll get in shape. If you're happy being out of shape, then you're just gonna stay out of shape, right? So if you feel a degree of uncomfortableness inside of your mind, I think it's just your mind telling you that something about your life needs to change.
Yes.
You need to get up and change something. Guys would say to me, I'm depressed because I'm fat and I have no girlfriend. And I'd say, no, you have no girlfriend and you're fat and that's why you're depressed. If you go change those two things, you'd probably be surprised that your disease goes away. I had another guy say he was gonna kill himself. I said, listen, it's back when I used to reply to my emails when I was smaller. I said, make me a promise, get a six-pack first.
Of beer?
I said, get a six-pack first, get in fantastic shape, and then do whatever you didn't want to kill himself. It was fantastic.
So he did it?
Yeah. I have the before and after up on Twitter. Kind of interesting, isn't it? So how are we going to say we have this disease, which is cause and effect? How are we going to say we have this disease where if there's something wrong with you as a man, you have a disease because your life sucks? I mean, I don't think that's true. I think that your life just sucks and you should change it.
When I make my biggest progress, when I really change who I am and change the world, that's when everything's fucked. When things go wrong, or I'm feeling things I don't want to feel, or bad things are happening, that's when I'm like, okay, I currently cannot sleep. I've completed the day's tasks. I've tried to go to bed. I can't sleep. More shit has to be done. That's when the amazing things happen in my life. When I was heartbroken, when I was whatever, everyone's been heartbroken, I can't remember a specific example, I hit the gym hard.
right? If something goes wrong with your payment processor, that's when you get fucking inventive. That's business, right? That's when you get inventive. So all the bad things that happen to you as a man, if you're stoic, you get to take unlimited energy. Heartbreak is unlimited energy. So is depression, so is rage, so is sadness. All these negative emotions they tell you to collapse behind. It's like, people talk like, Bruce Lee says, be like water. And people see that as be fluid and just go with the flow. I disagree. If you're like water, you're necessary for life. You are scary when you're enraged. You're powerful. You're beautiful when you're calm. You're so many things when you're like water, right? So if I'm enraged, it's like water behind a dam. You just got to put the dam in place. And you got to get the turbo, the hydroelectrics put in. Don't tsunami your life. Put the energy somewhere.
You have to love the war. You have to love the idea of all the constant problems that you have to fix. You have to love being the center of a mini universe you have created, and it's going to implode under its own gravity if you're not there doing constant Aikido. That's how kings have always felt. Do you think Alexander the Great didn't feel that? You think Julius Caesar didn't feel that? You think Genghis Khan didn't feel that when he's getting all these reports from thousands of miles away that his borders are being attacked by this unknown group of bandits, and he's at constant war in 7 different directions, and his wife's probably complaining at the same time, and his favorite horse just died, and he's walking around doing Mongolian Aikido? Of course he was. That's all anyone who's been important has ever done. If you're looking for calm and peace, you won't matter. I actually said this before. People were talking about how do you decide or how do you know if someone's going to be monumentally successful in the world? And then everyone knows, because there's been large studies on it, that IQ level is not how you dictate it. And I'll tell you how you dictate it. Somebody's tolerance to stress. The better you are at dealing with stress, the more successful you will be, because as you climb up the ladder, the stress level increases. It is a direct positive correlation between success and stress. They go together. There's no light without dark.
I'm not stupid. I understand like PTSD is real. I understand mental health is real. I'm not saying that, but I say if you're an 18-year-old boy or 18-year-old man and your life is pretty much okay, bacteria didn't steal your eyesight, which could have happened. You never had a car crash and lost both of your legs, which could have happened. You're actually very fortunate. And you wake up and you say, I'm depressed. I think you're an idiot. I don't think you're depressed. I think you've been psyoped. I think you feel a little bit of depression, and you can fix that by changing your life. I think if you became rich and strong and smart and successful, and you worked hard and you dedicated yourself and you were motivated, you tried your very, very best to become excellent, you probably wouldn't feel depressed anymore, which means it's not a disease, is it? So why would you, the only reason you're even saying you have depression is because you believe in it. I'm someone who comes from absolutely nothing and made himself into something. And unfortunately, there's a rocky road sometimes, like you just described with Jay-Z, to get that done. But if I would have been born into a perfect family, like you said, 2 loving parents, family was rich, white picket fence, and I was saying all the same things, then they wouldn't have the same affinity. So if you look at even a lot of superheroes, you look at Batman, he's a flawed person. And I think the reason I'm seen as a hero and the reason I have the fan base I have is because to a degree I've always been a flawed person, and I'm not a perfect human and I don't want to be. And I think that that actually adds a lot of credibility to my character as a whole, that I've become the kind of person who believes he can add value to the world. And just like you said with Jay-Z, he changed. People message me all the time like, oh, but Tate, you don't know how sad I feel. No, it's incorrect. I know exactly how sad you feel. The difference is I used it. And you're sitting here still crying, some random guy on email for the fucking 3rd month in a row. That's the difference between you and me, my friend. I was becoming a world champion kickboxer. I got to a point to do it. People often talk about depression and say I don't understand it. I will say, listen, there's been times in my life where I was fully functional as an adult. I would never label myself depressed because I don't believe in the idea of labeling myself in a negative, because I don't believe in things that take power from me, which we'll talk about in a second. But there's been times in my life where I didn't give a fuck if I lived or died. There's been times in my life where I went to fight a man for money, and I didn't give a shit if I lost and even woke up again. Didn't give a fuck. I had nothing worth living for. I was brokey, didn't have a girlfriend, didn't have any fucking money, got a 2-day call to fight some world champion, had to lose 10 kilos in 2 days, had nothing else going for me, got on a plane to Dagestan and fucking won.
Most of you are made of plywood, or you try and blag it, you try and put it together cheap, wonder why you get crushed at the bottom. You have to build your hull, build your skills, build your network, learn Aikido, decide to become the kind of person who adopts as many problems that he can solve as possible, so once they're all solved, he reaps the rewards and builds a fantastically large empire with so much money he can't possibly spend it, internationally renowned and respected. But decide to be the guy who's never had a day off gym for an entire year. You know, I haven't had a rest day from the gym in years. Every day I train. Every day. People talk about how your muscles don't grow unless you're resting. I don't care. I go every day because I go to teach myself a lesson. And I don't want to go, and it's boring, And I'm busy, and every single day I still go, so I learn about discipline and pain and suffering. Even at my old age, my long, difficult life, I'm still going to the gym every day to punish myself and show God that I am motivated and disciplined. And no matter what happens, I will not miss a single gym session ever. 1,000 push-ups a day in jail.
I want everybody who's watching this video to understand that if you are not extremely successful, all of your parents, your grandparents, your aunts, your uncles, everyone you love and care about will be forgotten in time. Nobody will give a shit about who you are, and by extension, the people who sacrificed their lives for you to exist will fade to obscurity. We can sit here right now and talk about Genghis Khan, and we will talk about his parents because he's such an exceptional person. Where did he come from? I understood that one day everybody I love is going to die. If I want them to be remembered and respected, I have to do such amazing things that they talk about my origin story. My father was an amazing man, but he is primarily spoken about today because of me. If I was normal, he would have been forgotten to time. Do you love the people who have raised you? Do you love yourself? Do you have enough self-confidence and enough self-respect to want your last name to mean something? When people say the last name Tate, that means something. If you're gonna go up, if you're gonna join a competition, doesn't matter what it is, an arm wrestle, fucking bungee jumping, anything, and they said you're competing against Tate, the second you hear that name, you're nervous. I have made my name valuable. I've been instilled with this duty to perform because I understand if I don't, everybody I have ever loved is going to fade into obscurity, and I am going to fade into obscurity, lost into the passage of time.
You can say whatever you want about me. You can call me arrogant. You can call me anything you want, but you cannot call me a quitter. I didn't quit. So that's the difference. When it was hard, I did it anyway. That's who I've always been. And if you don't have that kind of tenacity, you're never going to be anything. So the people who come along and talk about passive income, they sound like quitters to me. They sound like people who don't want to work. I love work. I'm ready to work. I'll dig a hole. Bro, you offer me $1 billion right now and give me a shovel, I'll dig a hole. I don't give a fuck. Give me the shovel, give me the money. I will dig a hole. I'm not afraid of work.
If it's player versus player and you're competing against everybody else, because you are, you're competing against everybody else all the time, and you want to also on top of that be low energy and lethargic and lazy, well then you just don't stand a chance. You're get wrecked. There are people out here who are prepared to work their ass off.
Yeah.
If you're not going to be that guy, then you're going to fucking lose. But nearly all the ways to make money, I was saying a little bit earlier, are Ponzi schemes to a degree. And that's what's kind of interesting about it. It's unfortunate that certain people in nearly any industry or any money generating avenue are always going to get wrecked. And that's just kind of how it works. And that's the way the whole system, the whole world works.
I think that men are givers. And as a man, you're going to feel happiest if you're giving. I think we're built to give anyway. If you look at a man who's depressed or really sad, I don't think a lot of them are giving as much as perhaps they should. Or if you look at a man who doesn't have the capability to give. But if you take a man, you put him in an important position, and let's say, even me, 110 people rely on me for a wage. I feed thousands of children around the world every single month. I feed kids, as TatePledge.com you can see. I feed kids in Somalia and Turkey, the earthquake, I was feeding children. If I feel like shopping and spending money, I find myself buying shit for other people. I don't want it for me. I have everything. I like to see, it really is better to give than to receive. I think that's the masculine. The true masculine role is to give things and to make, and the feminine role or the subservient role for a child is to be grateful for. I think even a relationship is better that way. I love to like have a woman and she can be a spoiled princess as long as she spoils me back with unlimited gratefulness. I want to be, I'm not gonna have an entitled, ungrateful woman, but if she's extremely grateful, I like to give. I don't want her to buy me stuff. It's not interesting to me.
If you're the kind of person who's gonna quit because it's hard, then fuck off. I don't even want your energy around me. Because quitters are the worst people on the planet. You can give a quitter absolutely everything and they will still fail. You can give it, doesn't matter what it is. If you go to IKEA and buy a flat pack fucking table and put it in front of a quitter, you will never have a table. He'll look at it, it's just long, and he'll quit. Quitters can have every single advantage. Quitters can have all the information. Quitters can have all the tutelage. Quitters can have a mentorship. Quitters can have someone who messages them every morning, hey bro, let's get it. And guess what they're gonna do at the end? Quit. They ain't never gonna have shit. So if you're a quitter, I don't even want you even inside my organization. I don't want quitters anywhere near me because you're never going to be successful. And the people who join and then quit because they had to do an hour's work are the people who come along and go, take this, maybe it's a scam. Idiots, peons. They will stay brokies and wagies forever. Leave them there, right? You need the people who don't quit. I don't quit. Every single facet of my life is testament to the fact that I don't quit.
Do you want to matter? Do you want your bloodline to matter? Do you want your son to be raised in a family name that he is proud of? Or do you want to be a fucking nobody? If you want to be a nobody, fine. Go be a nobody. But don't lie to yourself. Don't sit here and say, I don't want to be a nobody, but I lack motivation. Because that's not true. If you don't want to be a nobody, you never lack motivation. You either want to be a somebody or you fucking don't. You have to decide. You can't sit here and fool yourself and fool God by lying and saying, I don't want to be a nobody and I want my last name to matter and I want to be rich and I want to live a perfect life and I want to be top G, but I struggle with motivation. Then you're a liar. Because I never in my life have ever struggled with motivation because I knew who I wanted to be and what I had to do to get there.
I've never met anybody who is in fantastic shape. And you say, how'd you get in fantastic shape? And he goes, oops. Don't know, bro. Just, oops. No, absolutely not. I went to the gym every day. I ate this particular way. I had a meal plan. I dieted. Nothing is going to happen on accident.
Yeah.
This mindset of when my ship comes in, one day it's just going to, well, you're going to win the lottery? Maybe. And that's another thing that's actually funny, talking about winning the lottery. I used to dream of winning the lottery. How much is a lottery win nowadays?
It depends on the win. Could be anything.
6, 7? No, not Euro.
I don't know anything about the lottery because I think it sucks.
But man, like, I used to dream of winning the lottery, thinking that my life would change. And now, like, 6, 7 million, that's a year of jets. That's nothing. Like, it's not even money anymore.
They say that you are the sum of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Everybody knows that, but then they don't curate their circle. If you hang around with people who are free thinking and perspicacious and use their minds and look around and come to their own conclusions and they're doing well and they're working hard and they're dedicated and they're rich, you're not going to be the only idiot. You're going to end up adopting some of their qualities and they're not going to talk to you anymore, right? So you're going to have to. So I think the most important thing you can do is just make sure you have a social circle of people around you you trust. And I get more information from my social circle than I will do from any news network. Let's say COVID-2 comes back. I'll text all my friends. Is this bollocks? You good? You good? You good? You good? Yeah, bollocks? All right, bollocks.
The only way he fought and beat his depression was one day he got up, grabbed himself by the bootstraps, got in the gym, became the champ again, brought himself back to the former champion he was. Mm-hmm. He did it himself, right? And I think that that's really the only way any of these things can be beaten. I think if I were to talk to Tyson or Tyson were to talk to anybody, he'd say the same thing. He'd say, look, end of the day, even if you're struggling, it's you that's gonna have to get up and get the work done and change your life. I think that a lot of the help, which is being purported now by the system, by the Matrix, isn't designed to help. I think it's designed to keep people in this state of depression because when you're depressed, you're submissive. You don't care about what happens to you if you're depressed. Depressed people aren't gonna riot against a new law or against COVID tyranny because they're depressed. They're too busy. They're at home and they're sad. I think that keeping everybody in a degree of semi-neutral depression, semi-sad, is good for their ability to control all of us. So when they go on the TV and say, you're depressed, it's a disease,
My mother and father broke up when I was 10. We moved to England.
How did that affect you?
Yeah, I think that's probably one of the reasons. If I had to self-analyze, when I moved from America to England, obviously you start all over again. You go to a new school, you have to make new friends. And back then, I don't know how long ago that was, 20-something years, whatever. If you're American in England, it was slightly more unusual. And the kids would make fun of your accent or whatever, and you have to learn to stick up for yourself. You have to learn to fight and to be brave. And if I had to be a psychotherapist, if I believed in these things and had to analyze my past as to why I am the way I am, I think the fact that at a fairly young age, I was ostracized and forced to defend myself and forced to stick up for myself and was happy to have a different point of view because I knew nobody could pick on me. That probably has something to do with the reason I am the person I am.
I think heartbreak is the most fantastic motivator on the planet. When a lot of men message me and say they're heartbroken, I think that is the most fantastic mindset to be in to achieve things. Because there is that degree of revenge and there is that degree of vengeance, and that can only be achieved through being so successful, so monumentally important that she can't forgive you. And also, you cannot even sleep, you can't even concentrate, like your whole mind's a mess. That's the perfect time to train. I know what you're saying. I don't think I've been through a particularly bad heartbreak, but I'm saying that.
Who did she leave you for? Did she leave you for somebody where?
No, I don't think I've had a particularly bad heartbreak. I only mention heartbreak all the time because I know it's a path every single young man goes through.
I also think you're not the type of guy that would ever give credit to that person, if there was one. So I don't see you saying that because it is a form of a victory over Top G, which that's not going to happen.
Well, that's part of it, but then let's analyze now, right? There's no girl who I've ever been with in my life who can now turn on the internet without seeing my face.
Sure.
This idea of chasing happiness and always being concerned and preoccupied with how happy you are is actually the biggest mistake that a lot of people make, I think, in the world today. Especially men who wake up and go, oh, I don't really feel happy, so I need to get happier. And that's how they end up down a hedonistic path of drugs or alcohol or gambling, chasing pleasure. I don't care how I feel.
Yeah.
I don't care if I feel happy or sad. It doesn't really affect what I do each day. I do the exact same things. I act the exact same way. I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't put weight to the significance of the emotion. So I always consider myself a happy person, but if I woke up and I was slightly less happy one day than another, it wouldn't affect anything I do, and I wouldn't put any relevance to it. I'm human, and that's life. And so, yeah, am I any happier now that I have hundreds of millions of dollars than before I was broke?
Yeah.
Not really, but I was never unhappy. I'm the same state that I was then that I am now. I have work to do, and I will do it. It's as simple as that. Not enough people look back on what they did and identify where they made a mistake. And some people will do it when they lose, but the true professionals do it when they win. When my dad was playing a chess game, if he won the game, he would still analyze the game and see if he could have lost, where it could have gone wrong, how he could have won faster, what mistakes he did make, what he did well, what he did wrong, win or lose. So many people will sit in a scenario where everything went wrong and go, in fact, correction, not so many people. I would say 75% of people will not ever self-analyze the situation they're in. They'll blame everyone else. If they went to jail like I did, they'd say, they put me in jail because they're liars and the Matrix did it. Fine. True. But when I was in jail, I was like, how did I get here? What did I do? What did I say? Who did I piss off? What institutions want me in jail? What did I do that angered them? Me. I'm taking absolute self-accountability for everything. I'm not blaming anything else, because if I blame everything else, I have no control. If I blame myself, that I can influence it, I have control over it. Usually the things that made you the best version of you are usually the worst things that happen to you. So the demons I carry from jail, the fact that I can't sleep. The fact that I can't sleep, I've had girls say to me, you can't sleep, you need to see a psychiatrist. And I said, absolutely not. I would be furious if a psychiatrist walked in here and took my demons from me. I don't care if they could fix me with a click, they're mine. And they were bestowed to me by God. And they are mine to deal with, and they are mine to fix, because that's how I become a better version of me. I would be furious if someone took them away from me. I'm glad I can't sleep. Good, I can train endlessly. That's why I'm bigger than I've ever been. I'll train I'm not gonna waste a minute. But all the demons that have been given to me by God and all the problems that have been given to me by God are mine to fix. I would never, ever allow anybody else to take them from me. I'd be furious. If a psychologist came in and said I could cure you, I'd say, no, thank you, I will cure myself. I don't care if it takes 10 years. I'll cure myself, that's my job. And I know that when that's done, I will be more mentally resilient than I ever would have been without jail. That's the whole point of it, right? So many men say, I want to be the man, but they don't want to suffer, they don't want to fight, and I don't understand why, because even if you look at a superhero movie, they tell you, even in superhero movies, they make it very clear, Batman's parents died, that's why he's Batman. All the bad things have to happen. There's no way to get there without the bad things. I get so many emails from people complaining about their bad things, and I don't have time to reply to any of them, but if I could, I'd say good luck, congratulations. No, I don't read books because books are slow. And I think the world we now live in today is about speed. Speed is absolutely and utterly important. Everything must be
like this.
Absolutely, and everything must be done as quickly as possible. And Darwin said it, even though I'm not a proponent of evolution, he said it's the most adaptable member of the species that survives. I will change it and say nowadays the quickest member of the species survived. It's not about being the biggest or the strongest, it's about being the quickest, the most adaptable to change. And to read a book is just too many human hours for the amount of information and knowledge you get. So I don't read books. I think they're slow. I think they're a waste of time. I think a lot of it's mental masturbation for people to sit there and say, I want to get smarter, so I read books.
Yeah.
And I talk to these people, they're not even smart.
Yeah.
I know everything about everything because of my life.
Yeah.
It's been varied and it's been very difficult. And I'm perspicacious and I pay attention and I learn my lessons. And that's how I know everything about everything. I don't need to read books. There's not a subject you can name right now where I don't know something about.
Yeah, that's what I've noticed.
Yeah, you name it. Korean War, anything. You name it, I know something about something. That's just what happens when you get to a certain level of intelligence, because you can apply scenarios and
patterns. It's all patterns.
It's all patterns, absolutely. And history may not repeat, but it certainly rhymes, and humanity all acts in a pretty similar way across all cultures. And once you get an X amount of knowledge in one place, you can basically apply it and extrapolate it out to anything. Unless you've suffered and had a difficult life and have a bunch of interesting stories and war stories and all the things we're talking about, all the bad things, you're going to suffer to build a personal brand anyway. If you're born into a rich family and your life goes well and everything's fine and now you have a bunch of money and you try and start a personal brand based on the fact that you have money, nobody's going to care. Nobody's interested in all the good things that have happened to you, and nobody's interested in how nice your life is. Nobody cares. Maybe if you show enough money, you can get some temporary interest, but not for long. The only people who can build a brand off having a perfect life are women.
Look, I'm beautiful. Look, I'm in Louis Vuitton. Look, I'm skiing. Chicks can do that because they're physically attractive. Men can't. All the men you can name with truly strong personal brands have very interesting stories. Interesting stories usually involve danger, risk, pain, suffering. Those are the things.
Triumph over.
Oh, yeah, exactly. So you say, oh, should I build a personal brand? Well, can you? And if you can, then perhaps you should consider it. 75% of people blame other people or they blame other things. I lost my business because of COVID. No, you lost your business because of you. I lost my girl because her friends were hoes. No, you lost your girl because of you. You lost your car because of you. And it's all your fault because that's the only thing that gives you control and power. The other 10%, we said 75, that's 85. No, it has to be much higher. Let's say the other 20s, which brings up to 95% of total populace, will look at a situation in which they lose and they might self-analyze and they might try and learn from the loss and they'll try and find the feedback involved in the loss to make sure they don't lose again, which is obviously better than not analyzing at all.
At all, yeah.
And the top 5%, the absolute highest echelon, are people who are going to analyze every decision they've ever made, win or lose.